Hari Om. So we'll just wait another 5-6 minutes. Other participants will join. If anybody has any queries, anything you wish to share, you are most welcome. Hari Om Rakesh ji, Hari Om Dipti ji, Hari Om. Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Hari Om ji, namaste. Hari Om. Hari Om Vasudevan ji. Hari Om.
सर्वेभ्यः नमस्ते.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Geeta ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Bhavisha ji. Namaste. Yes, we have 4 more minutes. If anybody wishes to look at some particular shloka from the previous Adhyay or anything you wish to look at, we can have a look at it, or we'll wait for the participants to join. We stopped at shloka number 10 of the 6th Adhyay. We'll be continuing with the 11th shloka. Hari Om Shiv Shankar ji, Hari Om, Hari Om Rajshri ji, Hari Om, Hari Om. We'll start in another minute. Alright, I think we can begin with the invocation. Hari Om. सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी वद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. Hari Om. Yes, Namaste, Hari Om. We can begin now. Before we start, as usual, can anybody form a link of what we saw last? Yes, please. Anything that we saw last.
What we saw was basically that a yogi doesn't discriminate between people or anything. So he's
Objects
in the
and
state
people.
where he treats them objects or people. He's treating like even a stone and a coal will be treated in the same way, or a friend or an enemy or anybody would be like yogi treats him because he is in that state of mind.
G. So that Samaloshtashma Kanchanaha, it was something very difficult. Clay, gold, or stone. All three are different, but understanding they are ultimately objects which have a value as long as they are used, otherwise it is not. And looking at them with a sort of samatha or a poise, that is important. Then from objects he starts moving to people. Sometimes you can look at objects, but we cannot look at people with oneness. This person is mine, this person is not. My brother, my sister, my child, my father, my mother. This, sometimes we don't realize what happens in this. We create a lot of unnecessary, sometimes complications when they are not required as well. So this is again a yogi Krishna is talking about, that a person is able to see with oneness, even if it is a person who is not your well-wisher also, even if it is an enemy or if it is a dearest friend. Because sometimes we don't realize in our attachments, we spoil it for our own dear friends also. Our dear ones also we spoil because of our attachments only. It won't be wrong to say that Dhritarashtra was equally responsible for Duryodhana's plight in his attachment. Somewhere he said, my children, and somewhere he felt, no, my children should rule, my children should be like this. This is how he should reach that status of the king. All these thoughts ultimately led to, bring that kind of mindset inside of Duryodhana as well. So I remember one painting competition was there. A friend of mine also I called on. He was a better artist, but I called with him also because I got to know about a painting competition. I invited, come with me, let us go. Then later on, my friend, another friend's parents said, "Why did you call him? Because of he got first, you got second. Why did you call him? Well, what is there? Why to call him now? Maybe if I won that first place in painting competition, it is not so important. I could see what is much better artwork is done by my friend that can inspire me to learn and become better. Whatever that is all an outer aspect. But many times we have these desires which either our own attachments create among ourselves. Krishna goes on to say, even the indifferent nearest, when somebody you really want, somebody you like, even that person does not like you back. That's a very difficult experience in life. It is the most difficult. It is the nearest one. You want to be nearest to that person is only farthest away from you. It is a very tantalizing situation. Yet, that time also, being able to stay in that balance, because there is something in that balance, you will be connected with the truth. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram also says it is only in the calm that the divine works, because that truth consciousness should be there. And when you are on that base of, poise, only then you can understand what is truth. And truth is something which is so deep, so vast, it has so many dimensions, but it is only one. The highest truth is clear, it is one only. But as you go deeper and deeper, you see, and the Vedas talk about Satyam, Rutam, Bruhat. Satya is that, Rut is the Ritam is that righteousness, Bruhat is vast, vast like the sky. So as you go enter further into truth consciousness, more and more clarity starts manifesting. So to remain there, it is important to be balanced, because if you do not remain that way, you are going to spoil your own, probably associations with people, or if you are treating objects with difference, there you will make yourself trapped in a set of karma bandhanas because of your desire for the objects. Who is able to see that as one is the ultimate progressor, is what Krishna says in the Gita. We also saw the sannyasi is not that person who is not doing any action. A sannyasi is that person who has given up his attachment, his desires. So that is the real sannyasi. It is so difficult to give up your desires. But just imagine if you can do that, or just assume most of the anxieties in life will disappear. It is all right. Swaha. All of it. We do not have to worry about our desires. It's all right. It's difficult to let go. But if you can let go, well, you will be practicing what is sannyas, and probably that does not mean the typical sannyas which people have. A general meaning of sannyas is leaving everything and going. Even at home, couples have fight. They say, no, no, I'll go to Himalayas, because in their opinion, sannyas means only going. All the spouse has to do is, okay, take, here's the bag. That conversation gets over there only. Nobody wants to leave the world that way, but they want to get away from that troubles which come. This is an additional package, we didn't sign up for this. So that to remove that, sannyas is essential. So with this, one important aspect Krishna talked about is dhyana, and one technique of dhyana was introduced. Can anybody just recollect that what was shared? Then we will go to the next one. It was in the last adhyay, of course. Yes, please.
Focusing between your eyebrows for
Ji.
2 minutes and closing your eyes and just focusing there.
Yes, but
Maybe
not for 2 minutes though. We did it just for 2 minutes. So focusing
yeah, when
uh,
for the time you can focus as long as you
as
can
long
focus.
as we can. At the point between the eyebrows, inhalation and exhalation is equalized. How much time you are inhaling, it is
Yeah.
equated to the exhalation. Yes, Srinivas ji would like to add. Yes, please.
No,
Ji.
yesterday we also talked about aura. We discussed about aura of every
Ha.
physical living and non-living entity. That also we saw. And
Yes.
we also said that we should have a Maitri Bhav
Okay.
towards God.
Yes, yes. These were two
And
important things.
instead of fearing God, we should have a Maitri Bhav. And sages, they have Maitri Bhav towards God,
Yes, yes,
towards
yes.
Krishna.
Yes, yes. What Krishna will not do for Sudama? Why should anybody have this fear? Krishna, there is, if Krishna is your Mitra, what more do you need? What more is required in life? What sadhana is extra required? Krishna will make you do all the sadhanas that are necessary. He will ensure your path goes ahead. If that Maitri Bhav is there, because Bhaya is something which actually consumes the person who has it. So it will make that person go away from the truth. Yes, Bhamaji wants to add something.
No, no.
Ji,
I'll ask you later,
fine, Ji.
probably.
All right, Ji. Most
First,
welcome. Ji.
I was I was wondering whether when uh, Adi Shankara went into Kashi
Ha,
after defeating Mandana Mishra,
ha.
he had to face Bilal. At the time he went into Kashi Raja's body.
Hmm.
Was he in sannyasi at that time or grihasthashrama at the time?
Ha. Probably that is a, isn't that a debate, is it not, Bhamaji? People have been spending,
Let, let's have it
say,
in a
different, maybe a
platform.
different forum, a different platform. Yes, 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 certainly. Ji. So, yes,
Shashiji, I have a question here.
all right.
You gave an example of when you want to be emotionally attached to a person, but the other person is not or doesn't
Yeah,
care that much,
yes,
right?
yes.
So in that case, we are talking about some truth. What kind of a truth are we talking
The
about
truth
exactly? I
is
mean, of course,
letting
the
go.
divine truth is
Truth
there.
is letting go, Naji. Truth is letting go. You are holding your attachments. You're
Okay.
wanting, it's like sometimes parents want children to behave in a particular way. But children will not always. Initially, during childhood, they may listen. After a while, the parents see that, see, in spite of all that I have done, this child is not behaving this way. And now, the truth is, the child is not behaving this way. Problem is, we are not accepting it because of our attachment. So, there, the truth is just accepting and letting go. Because that is the next step of evolution for ourselves also. Maybe later on, our aspiration we need not let go, that maybe the person will come on the right path. That's all right. You can have that aspiration, but you know, cannot hold on to that, because the more you hold on to it, you are going to try to hold on to water only. You cannot hold it in your hand. It will keep slipping every time you do that. So on a, we can say it's like on level, there is like emotional level is there, then there's the mental level, there are higher levels, but in all levels also, if you look at the samatha bhava, it is even in the emotional aspect, because many times emotionals take control of an individual so much that they control mental and physical also. Arjuna's case, what has happened? Mahabaho, powerful, physically strong, mentally he's a great Gudakesha who is not requiring to sleep also. He's great, done great tapasya, master archer. But what happened here? An emotional imbalance brought about the ruin of the others also, other two aspects of his life as well. So probably that balance is what we can look at, Dipti ji. So yes, Hariom,
Hello.
Hariom. All right. So this aspect of dhyana, looking at, focusing at this point between the eyebrows, inhalation and exhalation. Did anybody try it afterwards for more than say 2 minutes, 4 minutes? Anybody wants to just share something what you, if you have tried it? Did you have thoughts while you were doing it? Or yes, please, anybody.
Yeah, I tried it, and of course, thoughts were there, but I mean, going and coming back.
Okay.
But was trying to again bring back the focus in the center point.
And what did you notice? How long did you try it, Dipti ji?
I tried for like around 8 to 10 minutes.
Acha, 8 to 10 minutes. Fine, fine. 8 to 10 minutes
Yeah,
and
yeah, but and I could actually see that initially the thoughts were like going, like coming
okay,
too fast, and but as the time progressed, I was just trying to focus more and more. The frequency of the thoughts was like a bit
reducing.
lessened.
Bit lesser. The thoughts
Yes.
were, and the feeling of kind of freshness at the end of it was there after 8 minutes. There were, was there some,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all right,
Yes,
all
of
right.
course, definitely
Ji,
it was.
ji. Fine, fine. All right. So this is our type of a pranayam only. You're controlling the prana and the apana, the inhalation and the exhalation. You're trying to get into the rhythm of our own life. You're trying to understand it and control our thoughts as well. So this is one thing, but many times people have trouble while doing this. Other thoughts. It varies with people. Sometimes some people find it so difficult to focus at this particular point. It creates a kind of pressure if they try to focus there. Or some of them have what they say a second mind. One mind is here, another mind is going on for a full ride. That's different. Everybody has a different, we can say, it's an interesting nature in human beings that each has a unique experience that way. So in that case, if you have the second mind trouble, you can always invest the second mind into a mantra. So hum or some other mantra which you feel like. So inhalation is equated with so, exhalation is equated with hum. So in your mind, you are too busy to think about anything else, just focusing on the physical kriya of equalizing the breath, and the mind is busy in inner repetition of a japa, so hum. So that's one way of meditation that we have seen. Yet, in spite of this, some of them, especially when you have a lot of anxieties, some of these situations in life are difficult. So, how do we deal with these? Because sometimes thoughts have to be emptied. Somebody wishes to add something? No. All right. So that is like the Krishna says, "Na kinchit api chintayet." No thought is. How can it be possible? Okay, Deepti ji. Yeah.
I just, before you proceed, I just want to say something. I read somewhere that when we meditate, we have so many thoughts going in, and if we can manage our thoughts, I mean, let go our thoughts and manage them also sometimes, our desires would automatically get like
Yes.
reduced.
Yes.
So it's a byproduct. Our desires are byproducts of our thoughts.
Yes, yes. Probably we allow those thoughts coming from somewhere to take us astray. Yes. So,
I'd just like to add that
yes, sir.
thoughts are going on all the time. During meditation, we notice,
We notice them.
but even when you are not meditating, they are all going on. There is some numbers they give psychologists,
Huh.
40,000 thoughts per day or
Huh.
something.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't know what the number is,
Yes, and they have
but it's
also
a
made
big
a
number.
yes, and they I do not know how what tool they used for calculating it, and they calculated the number of thoughts in a male and number of thoughts in a female also, and I do not know how true that is. But yes, thoughts are always there.
At least during meditation, we notice that thoughts are there. Other
Yes, yes,
times, we don't even notice that they are there. Even
yes,
while chanting, thoughts of
yes,
one chanting is going on, but the mind is somewhere else.
yes,
You
yes,
know.
yes. Ji, ji, ji.
So, but at least we are noticing it at that time.
Yes, yes. And when we become conscious, that is perfectly said, and that is important to be conscious. Otherwise, one side there's a japa going on, ram, ram, ram. Other side, I'll teach that person a lesson. He's like, then one inside mind is talking about that, and here we are talking about the great compassionate Sri Ram in our. We are trying to do the japa on the lips, but mind is elsewhere. So this aspect of becoming conscious of our thoughts is important. Now, yes, Srinivas, wants to add something.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember one very interesting thing which I just want to share with you.
Okay.
I had a friend called Mahendra.
Okay.
He was working with me.
Hmm.
And in everything, normally we succumb to situations. We are governed by our situations. And he used to have one simple solution for that. If he faces some problem, or if we say that "Arey, this month we are going to get our salary late, do you know that? He used to say, so what?
So what?
तो क्या हुआ? तो क्या हुआ?
Acha.
Uh, if you say yeah, that project we have to complete, I don't think we'll be completing before our target. So what?
Ha ha ha.
So that used to immediately ease out the pressure, and that I really used to wonder, and he used to remain so cool in every situation. Any crisis or any whatever it is, his only one answer is so what? तो क्या हुआ?
Ha ha ha.
So that was a very interesting thing to overcome the situation. and that really used to help us.
Yes, yes, yes. Probably kind of a detachment from the situation. So you can deal with it with whatever energies, whatever resources you have to the best of your ability. Indeed, yes. So this is there, and now Krishna did not tell about duration. Krishna did not talk about position, which you should sit, what asana is. So that first technique we can do it in any asana probably, whichever sukhasana, whichever is good for you. You can take that position. Now Krishna is he's again talked about meditation. He's talked about dhyana. He says in the 10th shloka, we completed it where Krishna said the yogi should seclude and devote himself. He should seclude and devote himself on immersing and becoming one with the Supreme Self in his solitude, with his mind and body in his control, free of desire. He should meditate on the soul. So Atma Chintan must take place. In that quietude, the mana and the buddhi should remain in his control. The Indra should establish his supremacy. Who is in charge? Are the desires in charge, or is that divine being inside in charge? So that quality time has to be spent. We spend a lot of time doing so many things, and sometimes in between works we say I need to spend some quality time with our family. Yes, that is nice, but when are we going to spend that most important quality time with ourselves? Our life just flashes quickly. In 4 days it's something like that, and we don't get time. We are too busy to spend time and recognize ourselves or spend quality time with ourselves. So dhyana is the best way you can actually look after yourself as well. So Krishna says take some time out dhyana, and when Krishna says it, it is definitely essential, recommended, and has so many benefits. Let us go on. शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरमासनमात्मनः नात्युच्छ्रितं नातिनीचं चैलाजिन कुशोत्तरम्. For this, a pure and clean place should be assigned. A position neither too high nor too low he may find. Meditating steadfast on the self, he must assume his seat, made of deer skin, kusha grass, or a natural cloth sheet. So Krishna says this, a pure and clean place must be assigned for this. So for dhyana, let there be one position, one place. Do not keep changing your places is what Krishna is saying. Let there be one place for dhyana every time you sit for dhyana. If it is you have a devghar in your house, a place where you worship every day, let that be your place if you want to. Krishna has not specified which place or anything about that, but let that place be constant. Probably if you have a room, prakoshta for meditation, even well and good. If you don't have such a big house, you don't have a big place, it's alright. Let one tile be yours. That tile must be your tile for dhyana. Don't change that place. Let it be. Why? We will see that a little later on. Then he says, a position neither too high nor too low he may find. Now, too high and not too low. What could be the logic behind this? Not a too high position, nor too low position.
So it'll be comfortable or
Yeah, comfortable is one. One is comfort, but why not too high or not too low? What could it?
too high
Anybody?
means you
Should
fall
be.
off.
Yeah. Yes,
You fall
Vasudevji.
off.
It should
Too high means you may fall off.
Okay, to fall off. Okay, okay. To not lose the balance is what Vasudevanji is saying. I'll come to probably I think Shiv Shankar ji, Sarthi ji, and then Dipti ji. Yes, please. Yes.
Stability for posture.
Okay, Shiv Shankar ji says stability of our posture. All right. Okay. Then Sarthi ji, were you adding something else?
balanced.
Okay, Sahitriji is also talking about the balance.
Balanced.
Okay, for the balance. Diptiji, were you adding same or something different?
Too high and too low. What I perceive is that I mean, sometimes we feel very low. I mean,
Ha ha.
or sometimes we feel oh, I am the one. Like it's like that. So I should be at a particular
At a
place where
balance.
I'm not feeling very demotivated. One, I'm not feeling like I mean,
Yes, yes.
I'm like above everything else. So it should be there should be a
Yes.
level. The mind is like controlling it.
Okay. Yes, yes. The position has its place. Sometimes we just people sit too high positions. Imagine they are now yogis only. I can say that from my own experience. There was one time I really wanted to meditate. I was not getting time in my work. I said, fine, let's go. And I went to the park and I thought, okay, the best place here would be to sit on the compound wall. This was so many years back. So I thought, let's sit there, nobody is going to disturb. I just sat there, and the first thought I thought, chalo, now I'm not going to get disturbance. Next second, I got brought down by the security. The way he brought me down was actually bringing full ahankar out of me. So, yes, probably too high is not required. Too low is sometimes emotionally we put ourselves so low as well. So, instead, let us be comfortable, let us be balanced. This is something which is you have to get a nice stable, and happily we are entering into the state of meditation. We're not torturing ourselves. So that is all Krishna has said, neither too high nor too low. Then, meditating steadfast on the self, he must assume his seat. So the person must take his asana, grahan his asana. His seat must be taken. What is that seat? The seat is made of deer grass, deer skin, kusha grass, or even a cloth sheet. So the asan can be either made of deer skin, kusha grass, or a sheet of cloth. Now, deer skin, this was all right that time. Today we do it. We will have an asan in jail only because it is banned. So we can ignore the deer skin for right now. But kusha grass, this is the darbha mats. They are available everywhere. If you do not have it in your nearby locality, you can also get it online. They are made of grass, so that's a very nice sacred grass. You can use that grass as a seat, or if that is also, Krishna is not fussy at all. He says, fine, use one cloth sheet, but he's saying use an asana. Let that asana be there. Now the question is, what is this need for an asana? Has anybody heard of this? In electricity, there's something called earthing. Have you heard of that? What is this earthing? We have this three socket, right? The 3 points in the socket. One is for the earth. What does that mean? What does that imply? Yes? Anything? Why do we have that? Or what happens?
The current passes to the earth and it doesn't affect our body.
Yes, it doesn't. So there's
Prevent
a
from shocks,
yes, Ji, yes,
extra
Gayatri.
surge or something.
Yes, Gayatri ji.
To prevent from
Yes.
yeah, to prevent from shocks where extra current will be
Okay.
absorbed by earth.
Ji. So it is something like discharging of the current. Earth
Okay, the
is,
same concept here also.
yeah, yes, maybe it could be the same concept, of course, because there we want it to be discharged, but here we want to charge ourselves. So why do we allow our discharging to take place? So let there be an asan, is what Krishna says. It can be of cloth if you do not have a darbha grass, but let that be one. Let the position be one. Who knows, slowly we'll start establishing our association with that place. After a while, people who do a lot of regular dhyana, that place becomes active and charged. Conscious people can feel the presence when they go to that particular place. And this is the sadhana space spot of this person. Many yogis recognize it when they come to a different place. So, like that
Like
asan.
extra,
Yes, ji.
sorry, like
Yes, please.
extra current has been discharged to the earth.
Ha.
When you sit for meditation, no, the initially or maybe till sometime you don't get the exact feel or the
Yeah.
positive thoughts you feel. So you may have mixed thoughts,
Okay.
negative feelings, depression, all those things may be the initial stage.
Okay.
So maybe
Ji.
to discharge that also it would be helpful.
Yeah, but
Could
what?
be.
Yes. We want to throw them away. So, what a seat essence asan is definitely implied. Krishna has said, but he's not fussy. Any asan we want, we can choose. He says. So, this is one thing which Krishna is saying. So, one more thing, like we said, the place starts developing its own atmosphere the moment you start doing meditation. Sometimes you are very disturbed over some news and you want to take a decision. Before meditation, also just go and sit in the place where you do dhyana. By kind of conditioning, your mind becomes quiet on its own. So, one more reason why we can have one place for dhyana. So, this is what Krishna has said. Let us go on to the next shloka. तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचित्तेन्द्रियक्रियः उपवेश्यासने युञ्जात् योगम atma vishuddhaye. There, so in that asan, that place. Now, before I begin, it is like this is recommended. Krishna has not given an order, and Arjuna has not signed up for dhyana session also. It is something Krishna is just speaking to him. One participant was bedridden and was wondering, will it be wrong if I lie down and do the meditation? I do not think there's any problem. Krishna has not said that, which is comfortable position to you. That is the spirit of the shloka. So, but that person was on the bed and also had very nice experiences doing dhyana. So, in spite of being bedridden, so it is not. It is something which we must understand. If we are able to sit in this position, that is the best way we can go ahead. Whichever position is comfortable. If some people have some problem of being unable to sit on the ground, it does not matter, but let that position be some place. That place should be your dhyana session. Do not change it like from one place to other every time. One day on the couch, another day on the bed, another day somewhere else, some one day outside. Let that one place be your constant space.
Maybe
So,
to have a proper discipline.
yeah, all right. Yes, yes,
Like
Gayatri ji.
like when they go to school, no kids, it's not that 8:30 only they have to start the day. But
Hmm.
once they start that with that time and that place, that atmosphere, no, that ambience gives them that yes, this is the time we have to start praying. This time we have to start eating. This time we have to start studying. So maybe to get that initial
Yes, yes,
this thing, this may be required. So once you are through all those things, maybe as you said when you are bedridden also,
yes, yes.
that this is not mandatory at that time. Maybe
Yes, yes, it can be relaxed. It's always the spirit of freedom is there in Sanatana Dharma. It's always there. And the importance of discipline has already been told so many places. We've heard it. We know it in life also, even in spiritual practice. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, all these things are required for the different angas of the yoga, which everybody must follow. But let us continue. Let us just continue now. Krishna says, there with a single-minded devotion that is firm, with his mind a control over senses, he must reaffirm on his asana, the seat deeply absorbed in meditation. He must engage in his whole being's integral purification. So, dhyana helps in the purification of the individual. So, one must go inside. Sometimes all our sanskaras also get diluted. This is a jnana agni, which is lit, that fire. Let that fire burn inside. That Agnimiye Purohitam, let that Purohit, that Vaishwanara burn inside and purify all that is not required, all the sanskaras which are unnecessary, which you are carrying, all the scars of the past, they can also disappear if you engage in dhyana. And Krishna says you have to establish your control over your mind, over your indriyas. Understand you are more than your mind, you are more than your indriyas, but that you have to understand not by auto-suggestion, but by a realization, by the experience. And that is why dhyana must be done. Krishna goes on further. Samam kaya shirogrivam dharayannachalam sthiraha sampreksha nasikagram swam dishaschana valokayan. Keeping the body, neck, head erect and immobile. A stable position he must take in this style, without his mind or eyes glancing in any other direction. On the nose's tip, he must focus his attention. So, a second technique is here, Nasikagra Dhyana, meaning on the tip of the nose. This was something which I had a lot of trouble controlling my thoughts, and that time Amriji said, I will make your thoughts zero. I was like, how can that be possible? There are so many thoughts in my head. How are they going to get controlled? Well, this is a brilliant way. We can actually try it right now. We'll just see if we are able to, just right now for a minute, we can try. Nasik Agra Dhyana. What Krishna has asked is the kaya, your body should be head, body, neck, head erect. So in a straight line, in a stable position, whichever is stable. If we are on our seat, it's fine, on a chair, on a couch, wherever we are balanced, without the mind or the eyes glancing in any direction. So eyes need not go here, there, anything is happening. Let for now, we are not going to do for more than a minute. That also is sufficiently long. So keeping that, and for now, let us keep our eyes open. With our open eyes, focus at the tip of our nose. We need not close our eyes right now. Just at the tip of our nose, and just focus at that tip. We'll do it for a few seconds. Let us start. Hari Om. Hariom. Yes, how was it? Was it easy or was it a little strenuous compared to the last one? Anybody?
It was
Strenuous.
strenuous.
It was quite
Yes,
strenuous.
it was
It
strenuous.
was quite.
It was strenuous.
Yeah. When you squint, just
Yes,
kind of
yes,
squinting.
yes. And we should not do this for too long. Obviously, Krishna does not want
Mm.
everyone to have squint eyes. So yes, that is the. It is. But what I wanted to know was how many thoughts were there while this was going on.
There was no thought
No
actually
thought
because we're
actually.
just concentrating, no thought.
So
And it
that.
was like kind of, this is meditation is
No,
always fake it till you make it. So
Huh.
you need to fake it
Yeah,
to
but
make it.
here we are not even faking it, is it not? No thoughts is your
Yeah, no
sakshatkar.
thoughts, nothing.
And that is the
Mm.
aim that Krishna has told for yogis also. Na kinchit api chintayet. That we are getting in just what we can say, just like that. So probably this we could, alternate with our other technique. This need not be done with our eyes open all the time. But when your thoughts are troubling you, that time probably you can open your eyes for a few seconds, then again close them again till your thoughts are silenced, and probably we can alternate. But the state of not thinking, that we saw how it can be reached. This is one more technique which Krishna has talked about. One need not strain oneself, that is important for doing any type of dhyana or asana. That is the rule of yoga. Without strain, whatever can be done. So Krishna goes on. Let us continue to the next shloka. So this is the second one. That's the last technique Krishna will talk about dhyana. He will not talk again about dhyana in the entire Gita. So one is the inhalation and exhalation, focusing at the tip between the eyebrows. That is the what we can say a little Saumya type of dhyana, and this is a little bit Rudra type of dhyana where you have to focus more. A lot of energies are exhausted here, but need not take it for too long. Whatever is convenient. But one thing is sure, if you have thoughts which are troubling you, they will suddenly you have a button to turn it off. You can just turn it off practicing this technique for at least for some time, and then go into the other technique as well. So these two things Krishna has told. Let us see what is he going to do further. प्रशांतात्मा विगतभीर ब्रह्मचारित व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तो युक्तः आसीत मत्परः. With a peaceful mind, that is without fear, the woe of celibacy he must bear. He must seek with his mind firmly in his control a merger into my consciousness as a whole. So in dhyana, we must try to be aligned with that supreme consciousness, is what Krishna is saying. With a mind which is free of fear, which is peaceful, and then brahmacharya vrate sthita. What is this brahmacharya he's talking about? Is Krishna saying that then married persons cannot engage in dhyana or they are somewhere impure, or is that what Krishna is implying here? Yes? It's that brahmacharya vrata. What is that meaning? Krishna himself was married, is it not? So what is this meaning of this brahmacharya sthiti in while meditation? Anybody?
Maybe he's talking about thoughts.
Yes, yes, yes. At least in that type of meditation, why do we need to? We can. That is the brahmacharya sthiti. We need to at least while dhyana, if not all the time. If, you're like many times thoughts of spouse are always there, but at least while doing meditation, one can forget our own family, our own everything, only for that time, because it is always better. It's like you cannot forget our duties, of course, but at least at that point in dhyana, in that special moment, try to enter inside, because see, you are higher than the physical body consciousness also. Try to go beyond that, connect with something higher, is what Krishna is saying. Get that higher network, just establish that link. That is what Krishna is talking about. Nowhere is he saying that somebody, because they are brahmacharya or they are not brahmacharya, it does not make such a greater difference of higher or lower. Krishna goes on, Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah shamtem nirvana paramam matstham madhigachati. Towards the self, directing and channeling the mind, always in yoga, that being when you find the supreme peace attains he with the nirvana of Brahma that is founded in me. That Brahma nirvana can be accessed by that individual, is what Krishna is saying. So, and one more interesting aspect is this is the highest realization that Krishna is talking about. And what is Arjuna expected to do after that highest realization? Is he going to say, all of you are just transitory? Human life is transitory. I have reached that highest state of consciousness. So now I am no more connected with my physical body. I don't care what's going to happen. No, we know Arjuna has entered into the battle. We know the story of Mahabharata. So even after that consciousness, our karmas are not going to leave us. But maybe that is a divya karma that a person will be doing if they reach that state. At that conscious action, you are able to do that. So let us see, we'll see that a little later on, of course. Now Krishna goes on. नात्यश्रस्नस्तु योगोस्ति न चैकान्त मनश्नतः न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जन. So far, Krishna has said, welcome, welcome to everyone, welcome to this path of sadhana. He is welcoming everybody. Right now, there is one shloka where Krishna is saying, entry restricted. Who is prohibited? Let us see. O Arjuna, understand this yoga's way. And to whom it is barred, I verily say, it is certainly not for him who in sleep and food indulges, and also not for he who rigidly renounces both the urges. So it is not for that person who is now only engaging in sleep or is only having uh, a kind of tendency moha for food, or who is always in nidra, not wanting to do any action, who is lost in the indriyas. That person cannot. So Krishna is not standing with a bouncer or somebody is like, you are not allowed. Your karma is not going to allow you. If you are going to drain yourself, your consciousness into a lower tamasic vritti and a lower nature, if you are going to engage in sleep or your food only is your importance, then what's the use? You cannot meditate. And it's also not for he who rigidly renounces both the urges. So also rigid renunciation also is not going to, because it's a sudden cutting off. A sudden cutting off is always an incomplete. How we say that even Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukam eva bandhanat mrityor mukshiyam amrutat. Meaning it has to be that like that. The cucumber, when it is ripe, you don't have to pull it out with force. Just have to touch it slightly. It will, just the tendril will just make way because it has got ripe and now it has become free. So that is how mukti should come. It should not come sudden cutting off. So even rigidly renouncing, many times people have a false notion of discipline in sadhana and they cut off. They cut off so strongly that those wounds remain. They do not realize it. They keep coming back again and again. So Krishna is saying, no, they cannot. He is not cursing anybody. He is not keeping bouncers at the entry of sadhana marga. It is our own actions. And here, if you are allowing your indriyas to control you, you cannot go ahead. Second time, if you are rigidly renouncing the indriyas, not transcending the desire, then again it is a problem. Krishna goes on. युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगी भवति दुःखः. All sorrows begin to cease and disappear when the state of yoga approaches near, wherein sleep, awakening, and food is in regulation, and works too when the mind engages in regulated action. So, regulation, that is important. Your sleep is regulated, your food is regulated, your karma is regulated, the state of waking up also is regulated. That is when you are reaching that state of yoga. You have seen samatha, well, this is also there in actions also. Regulation is important. I remember Damleji and his guru. There was not much of an age difference, but that time, in those times, people would not talk so much, or that was his guru did not have long dialogues or discussions. There would be small work or the words which would be spoken once in a while, and Damleji would receive them so easily. And so one day Damleji was working on his office only continuously, and his guru just came walking next to him, and it was evening time, and so he was working. He wanted to finish that project. All his guru did was he just went and touched his shoulder, and he would call him Damleji only. Damleji, काम बंद करना भी आना चाहिए. Meaning, you need to how to close the work of the day also you should know. That was just one line, no other discussion, no pravachan, anything. And suddenly he just stopped his work because his guru walked away after saying that. And that time he just realized, yes, that is also an art. How you begin the work, how you end the work. That is why Now our works in factory also. The Amliji says days begins with meditation. All the workers, even from the village, the women, they have never meditated before. No, listen. Let us play the Vedic chants. Let them start with meditation. So they'll keep all their other thoughts out of their workplace. They'll focus on the work. And closing time also is there. It is a fixed closing time. We cannot. Everybody is an individual. We cannot extract more work than what is capable of an individual, and a discipline of regulation is required even for closing. So it is in work, just the same way sleeping as well as awakening. If it is regulated, then what is the difference between Jagruti and Sushupti also? That disappears. Adi Shankara had said, Nidram Samadhi Sthitihi, means my Nidra is the state of Samadhi of into Shambho. He is going into that state. So it's a conscious sleep, conscious when awake, conscious when asleep. That is a state, and Krishna is saying that when this comes, all these sorrows, all the dukkhas which are plaguing a person, they are like diseases in life. Nobody likes diseases, but then we still get disease and we have to somehow deal with them and then come out of it. It is like that. Sorrow keeps plaguing us. It is something like a universal language. Pain is there, but our sadhana will help us, and slowly these will all disappear, is what Krishna says, as you go closer. So what are the indications of your reaching to the higher state? Is slowly sorrows are coming out of your life. You can watch that. You can see you are on the right mark. It's an indicator, is what Krishna says. Let us go on. Yada viniyatam chittam atmani एव वतिष्ठते निस्पृह सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इत्युच्यते tada. When the mind and the intellect have perfectly converged in a state of the self, they have truly merged. When from all forms of desires he is liberated, the state of union or yog he is said to have attained. So this conversion is taking place of mind. The convergence of mind and the buddhi, both have become one. There is no dvandva, there is no fight. Mind is not saying something different. It is like in that state all oneness takes place, Krishna says. They have those who have truly merged and free from all their desires, they are said to have attained yoga. Meaning of yoga itself is union. Union with what? With the divine. Why should you unite? Why should yoga take place? Well, basically, Viyog took place before. The separation took place. That is why now union is going to take place. Even science tells the same thing. Once upon a time, we were part of a big star. We were emitting light. Now we've broken that star, exploded, became one sun, and then the remaining matter started forming the system. And now what are we doing? We are receiving the light which once upon a time we were emitting. Why? Because we feel we'll go closer to our source. But that is how our life progresses also, without the light of the sun. But we are not conscious. We have lost our smriti. We have lost our smriti that we were once upon a time emitting that same light which we are seeking today. So this aspect, why the Vedantic Rishis also say Kruto smara krutim smara. Krutam smara means your actions. Remember the things. Meaning recognize your own existence, which is even beyond what you know right now, beyond what your mind knows at the moment. Krishna goes on. Yatha deepo nivatastho nengate sopama smruta yogino yatachittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. Like the light of the lamp that burns with a steady face, motionless and still, in a windless place, so too is the mind of the yogi of the awakened self, who has consciously attained mastery over himself. So Krishna says it is like the light of the lamp burning in a windless place. So this example of wind was, I think, earlier also we had got an example which Krishna gave about a boat without a rudder, driven by the wind. That is the state of a mind which is no control. Now Krishna says the yogi's mind. A wind example is again being given. It is like a lamp in a place where there is no wind. What is going to happen? That lamp will not flicker. Swami Vivekananda talks about meditation by focusing on the light of the lamp only. Watching that lamp which is not flickering itself is a type of meditation. So here, this is that mind of the yogi, motionless and still in a windless place. So too is the mind of the yogi of the awakened self, who has consciously attained mastery over himself. That yogi, and this is the mastery. We do not know how much mastery we are capable of. We've conditioned ourselves to believe we are limited with some capacities, but actually we have so much potential. Ancient times there were 64 art forms which a Vedic man was capable of doing. Not one, two, three, it was 64. Not everybody know Bhima was also a great cook. Bhima could do so many other aspects also. It was not just one dimensional growth. Each of them. So these are all facets of our personality. And a yogi has attained mastery over that himself. So he can manifest things which are not there inside of him also because of that mastery. New skills can be acquired. There's no age that is old or no age that is young. At all times we can always acquire and learn. Krishna goes on. यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्नात्मनि तुष्यति. So that person is santushta, is in that happiness. That person remains where the mind is tamed by a disciplined will. By the awakened knowledge, it is purified and still, and the awakened being perceives the self by the self's gnosis, thus dwelling in the contented state of the supreme bliss. So Krishna is saying the mind has become disciplined. With a discipline, you have tamed the mind. The difficulties of the mind have been tamed, and the awakening has taken place. That awakened being, with his knowledge, he is purified, he is still, and that being is able to see the self from the eye of the self only. Meaning, like a mirror, the Kathopanishad also speaks about the same thing, where the divine appears like a person sees the divine as if he is watching the mirror only. That is how the Kathopanishad speaks about. That thus dwelling in the contented state of the supreme self bliss, the highest happiness is what Krishna is saying is possible. Let us go on. Sukham atyantikam yattad buddhi grahya matindriyam veti yatra nachayvayam stitaschalati tattvataha. When the infinitely blissful self's truth is known, perceived beyond the domains that the senses can own, the yogi is established firmly in the awakened state, and from the origins divine, the being does not deviate. So when the person gets into that state, he connects with that higher consciousness. He establishes himself with that consciousness which is beyond the domain that the senses can control or own, higher than the senses. Higher than that, he goes into that state. And this is what Krishna is saying. This is the highest realization. Yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tataha yasmin yasmin sthito na dukkhe na gurunapi vichalyate. This is the gain of gains, the greatest treasure. Nothing is greater or even comparable in measure. When that unperturbed state is thoroughly gained, even by the worst grief, one can't be disturbed or pained. Krishna is saying this is the greatest gain, the highest treasure. There is nothing that is greater than this. There is nothing that can be even comparable. Because when you reach that state, which cannot disturb you, even the worst grief, worst news, worst situation cannot disturb you from that state, is what Krishna is saying. That person remains in that conscious state where no news is going to be a disturbing bad news. Yes, bad news may come, but will not create that disturbance inside of him. Many times, I remember a friend of mine, she had a very unfortunate, tragic story in her home. Her father met with an accident and in his workplace, and in that he died in that accident. And that news was conveyed to her mother over the phone. The mother, listening to that news, again died of shock, and in 1 minute this girl's entire life was over. Now what has happened here? This, of course, karma, all these things people talk about, that is true, but if the mother could have somehow, not got so disturbed about that, because her emotional aspect, it was a horrible, terrible news. But there are also people, there are also widows who have been able to raise themselves up, or husbands raising themselves up without, with their family, without the support when some tragic tale happens. So, being able to receive even difficult news without getting disturbed or broken is something which is very difficult. And probably with this, when your emotions are in our control, maybe we'll be able to deal with life as it comes to us. Krishna says in this state, the even worst news cannot disturb a person. Tam vidhat dukkha sanyogam Viyogam yoga sanyatam sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvana chetasa. It is from the sufferings that mind has to be freed. A union with the divine is yoga's true aim and need. An inseparable union is to be courageously sought, cheerfully bracing the hurdles by which the path is wrought. So, why should yoga be done? Why is yoga? Why should one engage in yoga? Simple reason, it is to free ourselves from the sufferings. This is the need for yoga, this is the aim. One must courageously seek that union, an inseparable union, cheerfully bracing all the hurdles that are in the path. Now, meaning of this is just simple that if you see, pain is a universal experience. All of us experience pain at some time or the other, physical, emotional, mental. God knows which type of pain has to come, what time. But the difference between a yogi and somebody who is not a yogi yet is that the suffering angle is much amplified in the case of a person who is attached to the emotions, who is attached to the senses. That person, sometimes doctors see that young 5-year-old will not scream when the injection is put, but when 25-year-old, no, 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 don't. Now it's just an injection, it is not going to take more than say a few seconds. But the aspect that the suffering that this person is feeling even before the needle has gone in is actually an amplification of a suffering caused by some kind of sanskar in that individual. Many times in life, that is the thing. Our life, we complicate things, we amplify troubles, all of it, because when pain comes, we should learn to bear the pain also. That is also one thing, bearing it and then moving ahead. But when we complicate it, so that aspect of suffering is what must be removed. And we have seen the story of Ramana Maharshi. He was operated upon without anesthesia for a tumor. What kind of, how crazy it is. He could even turn off physical pain. That was very crazy how he did that. But this is yoga. That is a yogi who is able to free oneself from the suffering. That is the need for yoga. We're not going to say on the path of yoga there's never going to be pain. Yes, painful moments will come. Only they will not disturb you or break you like they could have. Krishna goes on, courageously we must seek. Why do we need courage on this path? Anybody? What is the reason for courage? Krishna says, courageously seek that union. Can someone tell me? Hariom. Yes, please.
Courage means you have to have the preparation, mind preparation to face the unexpected.
Face the
Basically,
unexpected.
in any journey,
Yes, sir.
so this journey may have any unexpected twists and turns.
Yes, yes.
So you must be willing to face all that.
Yes, yes. All right. Vasudevanji is saying yes, we should be ready to face the unexpected. All right. Anybody wants to add to what Vasudevanji shared?
We should not get this because certain things can distract us also. So we have to be like very, very focused and
So we need
face
courage
it
to not give in to those
whatever.
tendencies. Sometimes courage is
Yeah.
required. Yes, yes, that is true. Sometimes the spiritual path is like that. It is. Savitriji wants to add something. I'm unable to hear you.
It is
Yeah.
not so easy to control your mind. It is not so easy to detach from the physical desires,
Ha ha.
etc. I
Yes,
think it needs courage.
courage. Ji, ji. Very rightly said. And if you see what is Krishna asking, he's asking us to surrender to what? To a divine we are not able to directly see with our eyes. We are walking on a path, giving away what? Only thing we feel is in our control or our property is our attachment, our desires. Though it is of no use. This is it's like a vestigial property, which is not giving you any positive returns. Most of the time, landing you into greater troubles only. So sometimes it requires a lot of courage to let go. So Krishna says that, and then cheerfully bracing the hurdles. There may be hurdles, there will be hurdles. It's not a path of, a bed of roses like that. Life is not like that. It is something you're on the spiritual path also you will have challenges. Sometimes you will have greater challenges than the regular individual. But brace those hurdles with a smile. cheerfully go ahead is what Krishna is saying. Forge your way ahead. Why? Because we have that sukham atyantikam that is going to come naturally only when you cry. It is like when you cross that hurdle. A threshold is there after which it is the hurdles are initially on the initial part. It is difficult. Initial times it is very difficult. But when that period is over, then everything is what as Tukaram says, Ananda Chidohi Ananda Taranga. Body is Ananda, there is a ripple of Ananda, there's an ocean of Ananda everywhere. There's a river is there, just Ananda everywhere. That experience is there. So Krishna goes on further. Yes.
There's a small joke there.
All right.
You want to go to heaven or in a higher state.
Ah.
The thing that you require is that you have to die first.
But
Nobody is prepared to die.
yes, probably here only our attachments need to die because Krishna has told our heaven is here. Ihaiva tairjitaha sargo. This place we can experience it here. But
This is the thing, we want to be liberated from our attachments,
yes,
but we don't want to give up our attachments.
yes,
So
we
this is
feel
a paradox.
there's a paradox. Yes, we want.
After death, we want to go to heaven.
Okay.
We don't want to give up all those things that is
Ha
keeping
ha.
us here
Ji.
while we are alive.
Yes.
So that's the paradox.
Ji. And it's a paradox because we want to hold on to our desires because we feel desires will only lead to favorable desires and results. But that is not the case. So then continuously we get in circles. Instead, we can, and Krishna has told, Ihaiva, here itself we can experience in life. So which other heaven are we searching for if we can make our life like the heaven of bliss that we seek? Krishna goes on further. संकल्प प्रभवान कामान त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् अशेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः. Originating from the thoughts, the desires of every kind must be dispelled and banished from the mind. The senses that scatter the thoughts must be in control held. From dispersing to their whims, the mind must be withheld. So the mind must be withheld from getting scattered. We must gather our thoughts, prevent them from being taken for a ride by the desires. Krishna goes on. Shanaihi shayanai ruparamed buddhya dhruti grahitaya atmasanstham manah kritva na kinchidapi chintayet. This is that state, na kinchidapi chintayet. A state when no thoughts are going to disturb you, are actually going to engage in beautiful dhyana. You will not realize what dhyana is until you reach that state, and that is a possible state. Krishna says, step by step, one must gradually turn inwards. Again, it is step by step. Step by step, one must gradually turn inwards and think of nothing else that is outwards. With the intelligence focused in concentration, one must engage in the self meditation. Quietly, one must enter into that state, step by step, shanaihi, slowly but steadily. Yato yato nishcharati manashchanchalam tatastato niyamyaitad atmani eva vasham nayet. And every single time the mind goes astray, becoming unsteady, when it begins to sway, the mind must be reined in and secured, and the consciousness of the self must be assured. Krishna is saying every time this happens, every time the mind goes astray, bring it back. Tell your mind to come back now. Just let the thought, don't participate in the thought, and you also go away with the thought. Instead, understand this is the nature of the mind. Thoughts will come, thoughts will go. You don't come and go with those thoughts. You remain where you are. It reminds me if in our village, near the village industry, we see a person grazing with so many cattle. What that person does is he stands with a stick, but he doesn't always go on beating the cattle. He just stands with the sticks in one corner, and he allows the cattle to graze around. They go around grazing in different places. But the moment the cattle is going out of his reach, then he calls and with a stick he tells the cow to come back inside. Because if it goes away, it will go astray. So something like that. The mind, allow the thoughts to play their games, allow them to do their drama. You don't participate in that drama. Just quietly watch. Quietly try to bring yourself slowly. The thoughts will also slowly start disappearing, is what Krishna is saying. reassure the higher consciousness, not the consciousness of the thoughts. Prashanta manasam yenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahmabhuta makalmasham. A pure quietude, devoid of any strong emotion, is the gain of the seeker of the divine union. Attains he a gnosis of the Brahma, the supreme realization, experiencing the infinite bliss of the soul's emancipation. So, this person, a pure quietude, devoid of any of these emotions, that is the highest gain. That is the greatest gain of the seeker. He gets the gnosis of the Brahma, the realization, the Brahmic realization is got by that individual. And he gets that infinite bliss, that supreme Ananda is what is possible. Let us go on. We will just go to another four more shlokas and then we will conclude. Arjuna is going to explain what he understood so far in one shloka as well. Yunjanevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma sansparsham atyantam sukham ashnute. The highest sukha, atyanta sukha. When he is thus unblemished, passionless and free, constantly in the state of union he can be. Such a yogi is always in a state of highest joy. Has the understanding of the Creator, he can enjoy. He's going to become a participant in the divine karmas. He's able to see the will of the divine. Even in this difficult moment, if Arjuna could see and smile and find the reason to let go of his desires, tears, maybe it would be useful. सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः. Such a man who has attained the union universal acquires he a perspective equal and global, for he sees the self in all and all in the self, and he discriminates not others from himself. So this is the third state. First is Samaloštashma Kanchana, where objects are looked at with equanimity. Then other people, near people, far people. Now that same scale of equanimity is also being used for the individual only. Sometimes we see faults in others with very like so much ease that see this person is like this, that person is like that. But the same finger which points to others does not point to ourselves. We are not able to look at it, but a yogi is able to see that. With the same scale, he is able to identify. He can find the monster in the mirror. Krishna says this that this oneness is not discriminating himself also. He is not partial to himself as well. This is why the great we say Kabir Das says, "बुरा जो देखन में चला बुरा न मिला कोई जो दिल खोजा अपना मुझसा बुरा न कोई." Means what bad man was he that he had there was something dirty or bad inside of him. What bad he's talking about is that ahankar inside, and he says, "No, I went in search of bad outside, but I forgot I did not turn inside. That day I saw inside. I saw there is no person worse than me." Of course, we know he was a great saint. Yet, even if the saint is able to find something inside of him, I think we should also see where is that monster inside of us. First, Yuddha we should do with that only, instead of going around like Don Quixote fighting with imaginary enemies. The real enemy is inside. Let us find that enemy and remove that, eliminate it, is what Krishna is saying. Same, discriminate. We want equanimity. We want everybody to be nice. Are we nice is the first question we should see. If not, we need to address that first. So here Krishna goes on. What happens then? Well, what is there when everything is one? Vasudevam Sarvamiti only. You're saying in objects, you're saying in people, yourself, others, there's no difference. I am you, you are me. If you see, we are free. Like that feeling is there inside of that person. There's no difference between one individual and another in according to that higher insight in that individual. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Krishna says that he who everywhere sees only me and in everyone, me only he can see. To him I can never lost be and he is never lost to me. Krishna is saying that that person is never away from my consciousness. He is with me and I am with him is what Krishna says. When you are able to see this oneness. Krishna goes on, Sarvabhuta stitam yo mam bhajatyekatvamasthitah sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. He who in every being's oneness believes firmly and loves me, in every living being truly. His action and living, whatsoever may be his way, he lives and acts in my consciousness every day. So Krishna says that this person who is able to see this oneness, in every living being is able to see that oneness. And he loves the divine inside of the individual. The outside person is not important as much as the inner person inside of that individual. Krishna says his action and living, whatsoever may be the way, however that person may be living, whatever that person may be doing, he lives and acts in my consciousness. Now, what is this? If you look at how can we look at this in perspective of Dhritarashtra? How could this have made a difference? Seeing this oneness. Krishna says, you, that person who sees oneness will act in my consciousness. He will not do wrong because Krishna's consciousness, he is not now, individual ego consciousness is lost. Now Krishna will be whispering in the ear what to do, and that person must be working according to the Adesh that he has received. Yes, please, Deepti ji.
Kurukshetra war would have not happened. Like,
Is it not? The entire family,
yeah.
and who was suffering because of that Kurukshetra family? Dhritarashtra's family only. Why? Because he is not able to see this person. No, 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 he is not up to the mark. He is not like my son. This person is the Arjuna. He is not my son. Now, why somebody else's son, father who is so senior, cannot see that person and look at that person also like a son is not possible. Arjuna is his, ultimately, he is an uncle for both. He's watched them rise and he knows, he's seen them, and such a lovable person like Arjuna. Can he not easily catch Duryodhana and tell him, wrong, this is not right. You should not hate each other, you should not, I want you to be together. Why cannot he say that? Well, this aspect only is a problem, and this is why all Kurukshetras, even today, we see them taking place because that oneness is not seen, and this is what Krishna is saying. When that person is breathing and dwelling in that consciousness, who knows? Krishna is only whispering what that person needs to do, and that person is just, he is not having ahankar, he is following the divine will functioning. Krishna goes on, आत्मौ आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः. As the self's image, when everything he perceives, O Arjuna, in an equanimity and oneness he believes. In both joy and grief, a steadfast poise he retains. Becoming closest to me, the highest position he attains. Krishna is saying that yogi is the highest. Joy and sorrow. Even if things are not happening your way, sometimes it's all right. It's all right. Accepting it with a poise, whether it is joy or whether it is sorrow. With that balance, that yogi, if he is able to accept it, he is the greatest. He is able to see as the image of the divine. He is the greatest. Now we'll just stop with one more shloka from Arjuna. What Krishna has said so far, what do you think? How much has Arjuna agreed? Or is Krishna now speaking something which is very logical, he is not going too deep into it? Or Arjuna is still in his same usual state? What do you think? What is Arjuna's reply? Because we'll just quickly look at the shloka now. Or if you want to say 1 to 10, we have this tradition of rating Arjuna. So, yes, what is it? What is Arjuna's understanding? Anybody?
Um, Arjuna is in the battlefield. Like,
Oh,
we are sitting comfortably listening, but Arjuna is on a battlefield, and
oh.
for him to even think
Think.
of the methods of meditation that Krishna is telling, or the consciousness that Krishna is telling, or the oneness about which Krishna is telling, I don't. It will make a lot of sense to him because he's in that state. He's like, I'm in the battlefield.
Huh.
I'm surrounded by my
Huh.
enemies, and
Hmm.
I'm in that confused state. And how do I concentrate? How do I just bring
This
that
samatha, this
consciousness? What
samatha
as a
bhav,
yogi?
it will be useful or it's not useful? What you are saying, Dipti ji?
Arjuna would not think in that sense
He would
because
not
he's in
think.
that battlefield.
Acha, so even in this aspect of looking at samatha, whether it is Duryodhana or that also will not relate to him that
Uh,
much. You
because
think?
he's
Acha.
he's in that chaotic
Okay,
state.
okay, okay. Dipti ji is saying that. Anybody else would like to add or have a different view from what Dipti ji shared? You're welcome. And we'll quickly go to the last shloka and we'll conclude after that. Yes, please.
But
Yes.
if you see samatha, they will be equal. can may as well stop fighting also.
Okay, Vasudevanji is saying yes, if Samatha is there, Arjuna is going to use that type of tarka and again escape from the battle only, what he was thinking. Okay, that is what.
Not escape. He may think like this.
There is
Okay,
no
from this
battle.
time,
There is
why should
no.
I kill them?
Krishna, I am also
So
Brahma, you are also Brahma. Why should Brahma try to kill Brahma? Let us remain where we are. Okay, Vasudevanji said an interesting
It may
analogy.
not seem very practical to Arjuna. It may
Okay,
not seem very, very
okay,
practical
all
what
right.
Krishna is
Ji.
saying.
Okay,
he's
yes,
already
Dr.
in the
Poonam
state of
ji.
mind, not
Ji,
wanting to fight. He's getting
ji,
one more reason why he should not.
ji, ji. Yes, Dr. Poonam ji, next. Yes, please. Ji.
So I think it's very difficult to see Sama in every
Samatha, yes,
just in the battlefield. If somebody
yes.
tells that you some, the mind is not
Ready.
may not be able to accept at that
Yes,
immediately.
okay,
It
all
will
right.
take some time to get conditioned.
Okay, 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 ji. Yes, Savitri ji,
Still,
yeah.
it's very
When your mind is confused, I think it is not possible to understand this such type of
Okay,
knowledge.
okay. It is not, so Arjuna is not ready. He is going to show his not understanding only that. Yes, Srinivas ji wants to add something. Is
I
it?
think Arjuna is already a yogi,
Okay,
but he is presently in a state of confusion.
okay.
So I think it is most probable that he must be getting his confusion cleared by so
Acha.
much of preaching from Krishna.
Okay,
So I
so,
think there is a positive movement in his thought
okay,
process by now.
okay. Ji, okay. Srinivas ji is having hope for Arjuna. Everybody else are saying no, Arjuna is right now not. Let us see. Arjuna is going to show his report card. It is like a child going to the father and saying, Pitaji, मैं फिर से fail हो गया. Because this is what he is saying. Arjuna uvacha. He says, Yoyam yogas tvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchala vastitam stiram. He says, Arjuna said, Oh Krishna, this yoga of oneness expounded by ye finds not any understanding or resonance with me. For its nuances I still cannot grasp or find. I am still feeling quite restless within my mind. Krishna is saying this. He says, No, I cannot find any oneness in this. Whatever you are, samatha you are talking about, yoga, he says, I'm not 1% also I am able to understand. He says, it is not connecting with me at all. All that you have said. We are in 6th Adhyay. So in 6th Adhyay, Krishna says, What you are talking about trigonometry? I don't think I have even learnt basic geometry or anything of that sort. I am not able to understand, is what Arjuna is saying. So let us see how Krishna is going to deal with Arjuna. One more statement Arjuna is going to give. Arjuna is going to give himself. Now Krishna gave so many similes. Arjuna feels now it is time I should also give a simile using my intellect. So we will see Arjuna what he is going to give as an example. Unfortunately, Arjuna is not yet fully understood what Krishna is saying. Only he is saying he is not able to resonate anything with this concept. Let us see tomorrow then. I'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra, after which if anybody has any queries, we'll have a look at it. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat, Krishna Mande Jagat Gurum. Hari Om. Om Shanti.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Hari Om Ji. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Ji,
Yes, Ji. Yes,
Hari
please.
Om.
Hari Om Ji. Yes, Ji.
uh,
Hari Om
that oneness is I can't understand. It's very difficult no to come to that state. No,
Yes, yes,
even
yes.
with our opponent, like opposite
Ha ha.
thinking, different people. No, it's very difficult to have
Yes,
that thought. No,
yes, yes,
suddenly the
yes,
oneness is very. I'm not able to
yes, 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 dear.
pick up that.
No, they actually it is very logical. I am just joking about Arjuna, but it is actually everybody's, even my situation or anybody else's situation. How can we see oneness? I cannot see that person is like me. He's a different ideology. He's having a different thought. He's from a different family. He's different way of life. All these things trouble me so much. I cannot accept it is a state which everybody experiences, Pushpaji. But that state Krishna
Yes.
has told, and Arjuna has clearly refuted. He says, No, I don't understand anything. Not like a few little bit I understood. He says, no. He says, absolutely nothing. Earlier he was saying you are talking about two sides, I want one. But let us see, no, ji, Pushpaji, Krishna will answer, and we don't have to, Gita is not forcing us anything. We are free to, follow our understanding, go ahead. But Arjuna's question is actually going to resonate our own question, what we have. And now it will become interesting. How is Krishna going to answer it? Because if Arjuna's mind is able to understand, I think our mind also will be able to, because Arjuna is very clear and direct in his questions. Like I said, if I was there in place of Arjuna, it would be very boring. Gita would not exist only. Krishna would say, I would say what to do. Krishna would say fight. I would have said, okay, yes, sir, all right, over. Now Arjuna is asking questions, so we are able to see Krishna's answers also. And Krishna takes us ahead, Pushpaji. But that is a true, and that is a true thing to even recognize that yes, this oneness, because on the inside we may not realize it also that we are not following oneness. If you can follow that or at least recognize it, that is the first step towards seeing oneness also. Yes, ji.
Yes, yes.
Hariom. Ji, ji, ji.
And
Hariom.
I want to say
Thank you.
something here.
Yes, ji.
Actually, can we say that oneness, like for example, let's say we say two kids are there, two friends are there,
Ha.
right? So it might happen that sometimes mothers would say, okay, they are two are fighting or having an argument, but there's a natural tendency that okay, I would support my child,
Ha.
right?
That is wrong.
Correct?
Yes, yes.
Right? That's wrong. So when I see, I mean, what I understand from oneness point of view is that the right thing, like
Do the
supporting the
right
right
thing.
thing.
Yes,
It
yes.
is do the right thing, because then in that way of course you are teaching something to your child also, but as a person you're choosing the right path, I mean the right
Yes,
person and going with the right thing, like what is the
yes,
right. So
yes.
that could be like, so then I'm not differentiating between okay this is mine and that is not mine. I'm just
Yes,
taking
yes.
the path of the truth.
Yes, yes, because that child tomorrow he will only, many times children when they are young they follow whatever their parents say, but after they grow up then they blame the parents only. The child was not so supported for the wrong by the parent, and later on the karma bandhana leads to the karma phala also, and then the person does wrong because the father or mother is supporting that wrong deed. That person gets trouble, and then if he becomes a criminal, now when he is caught, that time he is going to blame, see, why did you not correct me at that time, or why did you do this to me that time? I will not forgive, because right thing must be done, and when right is not done, its consequences are also there, no, Diptiji? We don't realize that consequences come for every
Yes,
action.
so true.
We don't know what, and so many times unconsciously actions are done. They still, even if they are done unconsciously, we cannot say, I'm sorry, I was ignorant. Because karma leads to karma phala. Doctor cannot say, I'm sorry, I took out the wrong kidney or I did some wrong operation. It's not, we'll not forgive that person at all. Nuclear power plant, somebody is working. I'm sorry, I allowed the nuclear power plant to go critical. I'm human. Can it be accepted there? The entire city
No,
will
not
be
at
in
all.
trouble. So it is like
Yeah,
that.
because yesterday when I was like when my son attended the kids session,
Yes.
so I really like what Dhanliji said is that we have been so what do you call, conditioned like that, that it's difficult to like take things out of our head, and when
Yeah.
it starts from the very beginning, because sometimes when we as parents or as adults we say okay bachcha hai to hai, chota hai,
Yeah.
bachcha hai, jane do. So that when we say that jane do, I
जाने
mean
दो.
that's the point where we're actually not doing jane do, we are
Yes.
actually harming,
Yes. Yes.
because
Perfectly
then that's
pointed
getting
out.
stuck in the child's head
Yes. Yes.
that
Yes.
okay chalta hai jane do, it's
Uh-huh.
not always jane do and chalta hai.
Yes. Yes.
So
This chalta hai
that's
culture.
a
That
wrong
is,
conditioning.
yes. 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 Perfectly said, Deepti ji. Without being harsh, but truth must never be lost. Truth must always be there, as much as you can avoid. Sometimes truth is harsh only, but we don't have to add to that angle of harshness. We'll see that later. There's something called Vang Tapasya in the last chapter. Krishna says actually in the final. What is this Tapasya of speech? Vani also is something. It is important. So yes, Dipti ji. All right, ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಹರಿ ಓಂ ಜಿ
धन्यवाद. धन्यवाद जी. हरि ओम.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.